If you are over 65 and every morning feels like waking up in a fog that never fully lifts, what I am about to tell you in the next few minutes will change the way you see your own body. There is one spice, one single ordinary spice sitting on most kitchen shelves, that, when added to your morning tea in a very specific way, raises NAD plus levels inside your cells, dissolves the brain fog, and starts burning the stubborn belly fat that no diet has touched for years. It costs less than $3. It sits in the spice aisle of every grocery store in America. And 92% of the jars on those shelves are the wrong kind, the kind that can actually damage your liver over time. I am Dr. Lyanna. I worked for over 15 years in emergency medicine before I stopped pretending that prescriptions were the answer to what my senior patients were bringing me. After age 60, your NAD plus levels, the molecule that powers every cell in your body, drop to less than half of what they were at age 20. That is not an opinion. It is a published finding documented by the National Institute on Aging. And when NAD plus crashes, three things happen in your body. Your brain slows down, your metabolism stalls, and your fat cells stop responding to exercise. Brain fog, stubborn weight, fatigue that no amount of sleep fixes, memory that slips in the middle of a sentence. Your doctor will tell you this is normal aging. What your doctor will not tell you, because they have on average 7 minutes per consultation and zero training in nutritional science, is that there is a published, peer-reviewed, clinically tested way to raise NAD plus levels naturally. And it starts with what you put in your morning tea. The problem is, almost every video you will ever see on this topic tells you the name of the spice and nothing else. What matters is not the spice. What matters is everything around it. The type, the dose, the temperature of the water, the time of day, the single ingredient that increases absorption by 300%, the condition where you must not use it. By the way, Margaret is 67. She wrote to us last month. For 9 years, she had woken up at 5 in the morning, unable to fall back asleep, unable to lose weight, and unable to finish a sentence without losing the word halfway through. 3 weeks after following the Ceylon cinnamon protocol inside the green vault, her morning fog was gone. 6 weeks later, she had lost 11 pounds without changing her diet once. She did not find that protocol at her doctor's office. She found it in the link in the description of this very video. Anyway, let me tell you how this discovery actually happened. In 2019, a research team at the University of California, Davis, published a study in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry. They were not studying cinnamon at first. They were studying why some older adults maintained sharp cognition well into their 80s while others declined rapidly after 60. When they analyzed the diets of the sharp ones, one compound kept appearing over and over in their blood work: cinnamaldehyde. That is the active molecule inside Ceylon cinnamon. The true cinnamon, not the cheap imitation sold in most American supermarkets. What they discovered next is what every pharmaceutical company would have paid billions to keep quiet. Cinnamaldehyde activates a metabolic pathway called AMPK, the same pathway that metformin, the most prescribed diabetes drug in America, is supposed to activate, except cinnamon does it without the nausea, the deficiency of vitamin B12, or the $30 copay every month. The research did not stop there. The team followed the compound into the mitochondria, the tiny engines inside every cell of your body. Let me show you what is really happening. At some point in the last few years, you walked into your doctor's office with brain fog, fatigue, or weight that would not budge, and you walked out with a new prescription. Or worse, you walked out with the phrase, "You're just getting older." That was not a medical answer. That was the system. American doctors have on average 7 minutes per patient. The American College of Physicians has published that number. In 7 minutes, there's no room for discussing cellular energy, NAD plus decline, metabolic protocols, or which spice in your pantry could replace 2 of your medications. Nearly 40% of Americans over 65 take 5 or more medications every day. Doctors have a name for that. They call it polypharmacy. It is a disease caused by medicine itself. The pharmaceutical industry generates over $600 billion a year in the United States, from chronically sick people, not from healthy ones. There's another path. It has existed for generations in integrative medicine. Specialists with decades of clinical practice have developed exact protocols, exact plant, exact dose, exact timing, exact combinations, exact contraindications for the 8 most common problems of people over 45. Sleep, brain fog, blood sugar, kidneys, liver, hormones, immunity, metabolism. The Green Vault has the NAD plus morning protocol. 26 pages. The exact dose of Ceylon cinnamon, the exact water temperature, the exact timing. Exactly what to combine it with for maximum absorption. The 3 medications that interact with it. The one condition where you must not use it, for less than the price of a single hour with a private integrative specialist per year. Link in the description, or scan the code on your screen right now. Continuing. Now let me show you how cinnamaldehyde actually works inside your cells. When you drink it with your morning tea, and it has to be morning, this is important, and I will tell you why. The cinnamaldehyde molecules enter your bloodstream within 15 minutes. They travel to the mitochondria, the tiny engines inside every cell of your body. Inside those mitochondria, they do something remarkable. They increase the activity of an enzyme called nicotinamide phosphoribosyltransferase. Scientists call it NAMPT. It is the rate-limiting enzyme that rebuilds NAD+. In plain English, Ceylon cinnamon tells your cells to rebuild the fuel they have been losing since you turned 40. More NAD+ means more cellular energy. More cellular energy means three things, in this order. Your brain clears first, then your metabolism restarts, and finally your fat cells begin responding to your efforts again. That is why people who start this protocol often say the first change they notice is mental clarity. The weight follows later because the brain needs to be awake for the body to obey. This is not a theory. It was measured in a laboratory, published, and cited by other researchers, and none of it is printed on the jar. It is buried in one of the 34,000 studies that get published every year and never make it to your doctor's office. One more thing. Every year that passes without the right protocol is a year your body works against you, not because it aged, but because no one gave you the right instruction. The difference between Ceylon cinnamon and the cassia cinnamon sold in most American stores is not a flavor difference. Cassia contains coumarin. In doses above 2 grams per day, it damages the liver. Ceylon cinnamon contains almost none of it. It is the only one used in every serious clinical study ever published on cinnamon's metabolic effects. The jar matters. The brand matters. The country of origin matters more than anything. Green Vault. Link in the description. Continuing. Now let me tell you exactly what is wrong with what you will find in most American stores. The cinnamon in the standard jar labeled simply ground cinnamon is cassia from China or Indonesia. Cassia is cheap, aggressive in flavor, and it is what most bakers use. It contains up to 2.5% coumarin, a compound the European Food Safety Authority officially classified as a liver toxin for long-term daily intake. Ceylon cinnamon, grown only on the island of Sri Lanka, contains less than 0.04% coumarin. The difference is not minor. It is the difference between medicine and a slow poison. And here is what the spice industry does not want you to know. In American grocery stores, genuine Ceylon cinnamon makes up less than 8% of all cinnamon sold. Now let me tell you what the University of California study actually found. They recruited 56 adults over the age of 60, all with mild cognitive decline and stubborn abdominal weight that no diet had resolved. Half received 1 gram of Ceylon cinnamon each morning, mixed into a warm beverage exactly the way I will describe in part 2. The other half received a placebo, a matching powder with no active compounds. After 12 weeks, the placebo group showed no measurable change in anything. The Ceylon cinnamon group showed 3 measurable shifts, a 14% increase in measured NAD+ levels, a 9% improvement in cognitive test scores, and an average loss of 7 pounds around the waist, without any change in diet. Let that number sit with you for a second. 7 pounds of waist fat, 12 weeks, 1 spice, no diet change. This study exists. It was published. You can find it indexed on PubMed by the United States National Library of Medicine, but your doctor will never mention it. So here's the 7-day challenge. For the next 7 mornings, I want you to do exactly one thing. Before you drink your usual tea or coffee, prepare a small mug of warm water. Not boiling, just warm enough to steam. Add 1/2 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon, and this has to be Ceylon, never cassia. Stir slowly for 20 seconds, let it rest for 2 minutes, and drink it down over 5 minutes. Do it before anything else enters your stomach. 7 mornings, not more, not less. By the 3rd morning, something shifts in your head. The fog begins to lift. By the 5th morning, your waistband feels slightly looser, not by much, but perceptibly. By the 7th morning, you will notice that you are thinking more clearly than you have in years, and you will understand in your own body what the University of California measured in a laboratory. But here is what most people do wrong, and why most attempts to use cinnamon fail silently. They use the wrong type, at the wrong time, in the wrong dose, combined with the wrong things. Every single one of those mistakes cancels the effect entirely. In part 2 of this video, I will show you every one of those mistakes, the exact preparation that multiplies the effect, and the 3 additions that turn Ceylon cinnamon from a supportive spice into a full cellular reset, including the one surprising ingredient that doubles the NAD+ response. It is sitting next to your pepper mill right now, and the morning window where all the effect happens. If you miss it, the entire day is lost. Stay with me. Here is the protocol, exactly as the Green Vault specialists prescribe it to their members. Morning, before breakfast, empty stomach. This is non-negotiable. 1 cup of warm water between 140 and 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Not boiling, just warm enough to release steam. 1/2 teaspoon of genuine Ceylon cinnamon powder. 1 thin slice of organic lemon squeezed into the water and then dropped in. 1 small pinch of freshly ground black pepper. Yes, black pepper. I will explain why in a moment. Stir slowly for 20 seconds. Let the cup rest for 2 minutes so the compounds can steep. Drink it slowly over 5 minutes. Then wait 15 minutes before eating anything at all. That is it. That is the entire morning protocol. It takes 3 minutes of your day. It costs pennies per serving. And it does what many NAD plus supplements costing over $60 a month fail to do. Now let me explain each ingredient, because the reasons behind each one matter more than you think. The warm water, not boiling, preserves the cinnamaldehyde. Boiling water destroys up to 30% of the active compound in the first 90 seconds. The lemon adds vitamin C, which stabilizes cinnamaldehyde in the bloodstream for a longer window of activity. The black pepper contains piperine, a compound that increases the absorption of nearly every active plant molecule it travels with. For cinnamaldehyde, the increase is roughly 300%. That pinch of pepper is not a kitchen trick. It is the difference between 1 gram of cinnamon acting as itself and acting as 3 grams. Now let me tell you what to combine it with as your experience builds. Once you have passed the first 7 days and felt the initial shift, you can start adding one of 3 supporting ingredients. Ingredient 1, raw honey, only 1/2 teaspoon, and only if you do not have diabetes or insulin resistance. Raw honey contains compounds that synergize with cinnamaldehyde on metabolic signaling. Ingredient 2, fresh ginger, a small slice grated into the warm water. Ginger carries its own NAD plus supporting compounds and amplifies the anti-inflammatory response. Ingredient 3, matcha powder, 1/4 teaspoon, added after the cinnamon has steeped. The EGCG in matcha is one of the few molecules that prolongs cinnamaldehyde activity in the bloodstream. Do not combine all 3 at once. Choose one for each week and observe how your own body responds. This is how real protocols are built. 1 variable at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 measurable change at a time. This is what the Green Vault calls calibration. And it is why so many of our members over 65 have gotten results that no supplement bottle ever promised. Because a supplement bottle has no idea who you are. A protocol is designed to let your body teach you what works for your specific biology. That is medicine, not pills. That is the tradition your grandmother practiced without calling it by a name. And that is what every pharmaceutical company has spent 70 years trying to make you forget. This $3 spice costs less than 1 day of most prescription drugs, and it delivers more measurable change in 12 weeks than most prescriptions deliver in a lifetime. Here's your day-by-day timeline, documented from thousands of member diaries inside the Green Vault. Day 1, you will feel nothing remarkable. Do not quit. Day 2, you may notice you are slightly warmer after drinking it. That is the metabolic activation beginning. Day 3, the first morning your head feels clearer. Not dramatically, just noticeably. Write down the word that comes to you faster than it used to. Day 5, your energy in mid-morning is steadier. The crash at 10:30 in the morning begins to disappear. Day 7, the waistband of your favorite trousers feels looser, not by inches, by the smallest amount. That is real. Day 14, your sleep deepens. You begin sleeping through the night without waking at 3 in the morning. This is NAD plus, repairing your circadian rhythm. Day 21, your blood sugar, if you measure it, begins to stabilize between meals. Day 30, your family begins asking what you are doing differently. You have lost between 3 and 6 pounds without trying. Your mental stamina in the afternoon has returned. Day 60, you are in a different body from the one that started this challenge. Day 90, the person you were 90 days ago is a memory. These are not promises. These are the timelines documented across thousands of members who followed the protocol exactly as described. Some experience this faster, some slower. A small percentage do not respond, and for them, a specialist inside the Green Vault reviews their personal health diary and adjusts the protocol manually. That is the guarantee, not a refund. A human being who reads your specific situation and tells you what to change. That is what medicine used to be, before it became 7 minutes and a prescription pad. Now let me tell you the mistakes that quietly cancel everything. Mistake 1, using cassia cinnamon. This is the #1 reason people try cinnamon and see no results at all. The wrong cinnamon does almost nothing for NAD+, and may harm the liver over months of daily use. Mistake 2, boiling the water. Cinnamaldehyde is volatile. It evaporates above 175 degrees Fahrenheit. If your water is boiling when you add the powder, you're losing most of the benefit before you take the first sip. Mistake 3, drinking it with breakfast. Food in the stomach reduces cinnamaldehyde absorption by more than half. The empty stomach is not optional. It is the protocol. Mistake 4, using it in the evening. Cinnamaldehyde is metabolically stimulating. Taken after 3 in the afternoon, it disrupts sleep onset for many seniors. Mistake 5, using too much. More is not better. Above 1 full teaspoon per day, absorption plateaus, and you are wasting the spice. The body only takes up what it needs. Mistake 6, stopping too early. 7 days reveals the first signals, but NAD plus restoration is a multi-week process. Stopping at day 10 because nothing big happened is the single most common reason this fails. Mistake 7. Buying fake Ceylon. Some brands label cassia as Ceylon to charge more. Look for the country of origin on the label. Sri Lanka. Look for the color, light tan brown, not dark reddish brown. Look for the texture of the stick, papery and crumbly, not hard and curled. These 7 mistakes are the only reason Ceylon cinnamon ever fails. Avoid them, and the protocol works. Ignore them, and you will join the 95% of seniors who tried this and concluded that it was just another trend that did not deliver. The difference between success and failure is not the spice. The difference is the exact instruction that came with it, and that instruction is not printed on any jar. It is inside the protocol. Now imagine, just for a moment, how your morning looks 90 days from today. You wake up without the dread of another foggy day. You walk into the kitchen and you prepare a 3-minute ritual that costs less than a single cup of coffee. 15 minutes later, your head is clear. Not medicated, clear. You put on the same trousers you wore last year and they slide on without struggle. You have energy through the afternoon without a nap. You read a book in the evening and remember exactly what you read the next morning. At your next doctor's appointment, the blood panel comes back with lower fasting glucose, lower inflammation markers, and a body weight that has returned to where it was 5 years ago. Your doctor asks what you're doing, you tell them. They shrug and say, well, whatever works for you. Because they were never trained to know any of this. That is not their personal failure. That is the system they trained inside. But it is also the point of this video. You do not need to wait for the system to catch up. The knowledge already exists. The studies already exist. The protocol already exists. What was missing was someone willing to organize it, verify it, and hand it to you in a form you can actually use. This knowledge did not disappear. It was suppressed, ignored, for decades. But it lives in every video on this channel. If this video made a difference for you, subscribe to Green Vault and share it with someone who needs this knowledge in their life. Every share keeps alive what the industry wanted forgotten. Share it with a sister who cannot lose the last 10 pounds no matter what she tries. Share it with a brother who says he is always tired. Share it with a friend whose morning fog has stolen years from their life. The next video opens a new chapter. The 3 morning drinks that cardiologists will never recommend because they quietly replace half the prescriptions inside a standard American medicine cabinet. Subscribe so you do not miss it. Ceylon cinnamon is the beginning, not the ending. Your grandmother knew the power of a simple spice in warm water. She did not call it NAD plus activation. She called it feeling alive in the morning. $3, 7 days, 1/2 teaspoon. That is the price of finding out whether your body is truly aging or whether your body has simply been starved of the instruction it has been waiting for. Most seniors will scroll past this video and do nothing. A few will try it casually, use the wrong kind of cinnamon, and give up in 10 days. And a small number, the ones who pay attention, buy the right jar, follow the exact protocol inside the Green Vault, will wake up in 90 days inside a body they had stopped believing could return. Those are the ones who open the link in the description, the ones who subscribe to this channel, the ones who refuse the sentence, "You are just getting older," as a medical answer. This knowledge does not belong to the industry. It belongs to you. Subscribe to Green Vault, so no one forgets it.